Hi, I'm Tim Sigler-Smalls with IBM Support, and I work with the IBM FileNet Process Engine application. In this video, we'll be discussing exporting common data points in VW Tool. It's very common to export the PE environment cache data. This could be needed when there's any type of PE user account problems. Getting the export of the PE environment cache can be very useful. Before we export, we need to set up VW Tool. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off page break. There's two ways to do it. We can issue page break, which is a toggle. In this case, I've turned page break off. I can turn it back on. Or we can do it explicitly by saying page off, or of course, or page on. But in this case, we want it off, and this will keep the paging from happening when we output the data. To output the data to file, we're going to use hard copy, and then we input the location and file name. Now everything will be piped to that file that we see on the screen. To export our PE environment cache, we're going to go into the environment command. We're going to use V for view. We want the persistent cache. The cached is in memory, and that's only active when a user has logged on. The persistent cache is in the database, so we want P for persistent. And then we can choose an individual user by inputting the user short name, in this case P8 admin, or going back in view persistent P, we can hit the star, and that will output all of the data. And then we can exit VW Tool, or we can issue hard copy again to turn off the pipe out to file. Other data points is configuration data that can be very useful, and we have a number of configuration output. If you issue the question mark in VW Tool, you'll get a list of commands. Looking at that list, you can see there's a config command, config details. There's also qconfig, and then there's region config. The gotcha here is, notice the capital C, and then you have roster config. And these put out either overall data or specific data. And the functionality depends on which command you run. For example, if we want information about all of the queues and all of the server, we issue config. And that puts out quite a lot of data. We can do config details. And that gives us a whole lot of data. If we want something more targeted, like if we want our queue data, we can do qconfig, and this will give us the configuration data specific to a queue or to all of the queues. So I'll say star for all, and then I may or may not want system field definitions. Generally, accepting the defaults is the best way to go, unless you want something more specific, or if IBM Support has requested something more specific. So that's some of the common data output that you can get using VW Tool.